Hey peeps, welcome to my behind the scenes video series of Peas in a Pod, where the hair is big and the shirts are funky. We're talking about the pilot today. So before we get started though, I just want to say, like, huge spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the season yet or the pilot or whatever, and you don't want, the jokes or anything like that to be ruined, I recommend you stop this video right now and watch the pilot. So just getting that out there, but you do whatever you want. You do you, boo-boo. First off, I just want to say I love this pilot so much. Everybody did a great job. We shot this thing like out of pocket in the dead of summer in Brooklyn with like all of the odds like against us, and I think we came out with something really strong. So I just want to tell you guys some like fun sort of behind the scenes things to give you an idea of what the experience was like. So, I just love that we open on this like really desperate character, and like the jazz music, which is typically like romantic and suave, is like a great juxtaposition for like how, uncool and suave like Pete is, at least in this circumstance. And dates are very much like that. It's weird and it's awkward until you find your common ground, and then boom, you can have something magical. But, Pete and Polly is just some weird common ground that, you'll see once you get to the pilot. We used Alta Calidad, which is a really dope restaurant in Prospect Heights, I believe, in Brooklyn. And we lucked out. Kevin Woods, who is a cast member on the show, hooked us up with being able to use that location after they closed. So we shot there all night, and we shot all the stuff at the house and the subway and stuff like that all day. So we had like a 8 a.m. to like 7 a.m. like day in total, which was like crazy. And the restaurant was super hot because we had to turn off the AC. So like it was tough. I was sweating. People were like getting like losing steam, but like we crushed it clearly, right? So there's that. But yeah, thank you Alta Calidad and Kevin Woods for hooking us up with that. While we're in that subway flashback of Stephanie's, or Polly, some guy actually tried to help her get through the turnstile. They didn't realize we were shooting a web series, and comes and like, ruins the shot by being like, oh, just turn the card around, you idiot. But I wish we could have, not broken character and saved that, because that would have been great for the show, or at least like a blooper or something. But man, was that like a funny moment in real time. We also got yelled at on the subway. They were yelling at us for like permits and telling us we were going to get like, arrested and the cops were coming. So we just like ran down, like took the subway to the next stop, like finished everything we had to do, like came back and like bolted out of there, and never heard anything else like about it. So, word to the wise, like, get your stuff done like quick and then get out of there. When we go to the flashback of like Pete on his other date, the worst date, with Amber, who's played by Shay Dillon, and she is so funny, so hilarious. We met in Anthony Abson's acting studio a few years back, and I knew that she was going to be perfect for playing this role, as you'll see in it. But a woman actually asked me that on a date once, if I ever dropped the whole young Obama thing, and I had to be like, this is just who I am, and like, I gave her the Obama impression. I actually did that, and much like Shay's character, she just was not having it. So, she wanted me to like drop the N-word and be all hood and all that stuff, and I was like, it's the first date, babe, and like that's just like not what I do anyway, so sorry, it's not gonna work out. But of course, for the sake of comedy, I have to whip out every other quasi impression I can do, and be ridiculously obnoxious. And then Shay kills it with her reactions, which were pretty much improvised. I mean, at a certain point, we just like went back and forth, and they were just like, okay, do this actor and that voice and this accent, and we just, threw together what we had. But it was fun in that we spent way too much time just kind of messing around with that. I love the moment where the server hears Pete say that he's going to rub a quick one out in the bathroom, just like to get over like the nerves and figure out like, to figure out what's going on with why this date feels weird. And she's into it, she's into it, man. I just like think that that's like such a, and Amanda Dunson, who plays the server, crushes it with like her reaction, people's reaction shots in this pilot. And I think throughout the whole series are like money. It's just so funny to this day. It makes me laugh. Now we go to the house, and at the house, we have this image. We open with like them on opposite ends of the couch, because like, think about it. some dates have ebbs and flows. You know, not every date is like a catastrophe, and not every date is, you know, amazing. And even maybe somebody you ended up with for a period of time or for the rest of your life, maybe the first date wasn't like completely smooth, right? Like maybe you like were feeling it, but then like they said something that was kind of weird, or they did something and you were like, I'm not sure. And so like you're kind of doing this back and forth. So we're now back to this sort of weird energy where like we know that sleeping with each other is the goal, kind of, but to get there, just like we're not feeling it. It's just very bizarre and funny, and I think that that tension is hilarious. And that image especially, like they couldn't be further away from each other, is funny to me, at least. I want to say that you know that Pete is at the very least a gentleman, because he gets that consent for that knee touch. He's not going to go and move any further forward if he doesn't get that yes. So, you know, ally. Then like pushing past, so we have like a bunch of like funny, like witty banter and back and forth, and a lot of like these characters in their heads and stuff like that. But in the end, when we get to that like handshake, I was so inspired by like the handshake in The Parent Trap, between like her and the butler, and then the twin like does like the same thing or whatever. I thought that was like super cute and kind of funny. But I thought, wouldn't it be great if two people that never met before suddenly like were able to do this like, you know, intricate, like elongated like handshake situation, and like that's how you know that they're, you know, gonna be two peas in a pod. And funny enough, we came up with like what the handshake would be that day. The crew was like setting it up. The crew, it's like 3 people. But we were like setting up the house and like trying to, you know, figure out, you know, lighting and all these other things. Like once you finally get there, and Stephanie and I just like stepped aside for like a few minutes, and we just kind of came up with it right then and there. And I think it evolved as we were like shooting it too. So totally like spontaneous, like, you know, not planned thing. And some of the funniest things I think are, you know, improvised, or, you know, you figure it out right then and there. You can plan as much as you want, but sometimes the best things are the unexpected. So there's that. So those are some of my favorite moments about it. I love this episode, y'all, as I said before, and I really wanted to do a pilot that had a great balance of like exposition, but was funny and interesting, and gave you this great sense of like what the show is going to be about in this much time. So if you really dig it, I appreciate that. That's like a huge compliment, and I can't wait for you guys to see it and for you to see the rest of the season as well. And I'm going to be doing one of these videos for each one as well. So if you're a sucker for the behind the scenes stuff, stay tuned for more. All right, see you.